After John Cena lost to The Rock in the main event of WrestleMania 28, he wanted to show sportsmanship by asking The Rock to come to the ring so he could congratulate him. However, Brock Lesnar came out instead, making his first appearance in WWE in 8 years. Lesnar initially gestured as if he was going to shake Cena's hand, but instead hit him with his F5 finisher. Cena, feeling disrespected, marched to the ring the following week and slapped Lesnar in the face, leading to a wild brawl that emptied the entire locker room. To settle their differences, they were scheduled to face each other at the 2012 Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Lesnar dominated Cena for most of the match, but as he was trying to secure the victory with his F5 finisher, he inadvertently knocked out the referee. Another referee made their way to the ring, but took too long, allowing Cena to kick out at 2. Lesnar attacked the second referee and continued his assault on Cena, but after mistiming a jump over the top rope, Cena finally gained the advantage. Energized, Cena hit his attitude adjustment finisher onto the steel steps and pinned Lesnar to win the match. After Kane was forced to remove his mask and reveal his identity for the first time in his career, he took his anger out by giving Linda McMahon a vicious tombstone piledriver. This caused her son Shane to return to WWE for the first time in 2 years to confront Kane. Shane sent Kane crashing off the stage, but Kane was unfazed by the attack. Later, Kane got his revenge on Shane by interfering during Shane's match with Chris Jericho. The two fought all the way backstage, where Shane got the upper hand and tried to take Kane out by knocking him into a flaming dumpster. However, Kane showed that wasn't enough by emerging the next week on Raw and getting revenge on Shane in a cruel and unusual fashion. To settle their differences, a last man standing match was booked for the 2003 Unforgiven pay-per-view. Their match was full of non-stop back-and-forth action. When Shane finally got the upper hand but was unable to keep Kane down, he panicked and resorted to extreme measures in an attempt to secure the victory. However, Kane moved at the last second, sending Shane crashing through the set, which allowed Kane to win the match. The next night, Shane was interviewed about his condition from the hospital via satellite. Shockingly, Kane showed up at the hospital to inflict even more damage on Shane. With Shane out of action, Kane started to decimate other wrestlers on the roster. However, Shane surprisingly showed up on Raw during one of Kane's matches and lured him backstage, where he trapped him in a limousine and sent it crashing into a trailer. After all this chaos, they were booked to compete in an ambulance match at the 2003 Survivor Series pay-per-view. When the match started, it immediately spilled ringside and then backstage. Shane was able to get the upper hand and attempted to load Kane into the ambulance, but Kane fought back and started to get his own offense in as they fought back to the main entranceway. From there, Shane was able to gain the upper hand again and hit a huge coast-to-coast off of the ambulance. However, he still struggled to load Kane into the ambulance, which gave Kane the opening to attack a tired Shane. Kane then hit a tombstone piledriver on the concrete floor, knocking Shane out and allowing Kane to load him into the ambulance and win the match. After Mr. McMahon prevented Zach Gowen from earning a WWE contract by defeating him in an arm wrestling contest, he offered Gowen another chance if he agreed to join McMahon's special club. Instead, Gowen responded with a low blow. As punishment, McMahon booked Gowen to face the 500-pound Big Show in a no disqualification handicap match, and it looked as though he would pick up an easy victory. However, Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle interfered, taking out Big Show and allowing Gowen to hit a moonsault for the pinfall victory. As a result, Gowen finally earned a WWE contract, but as soon as he signed it, McMahon announced that Gowen's first official match would be against him at the 2003 Vengeance pay-per-view. When the match began, McMahon immediately targeted Gowen's lone leg, allowing him to control most of the action. Despite this, Gowen refused to give up and fought back. Frustrated, McMahon grabbed a steel chair, but Gowen kicked it into McMahon's face, knocking him out. Gowen then attempted his signature corkscrew moonsault, but McMahon rolled out of the way at the last second and pinned Gowen for the victory. Despite the loss, Gowen received a standing ovation from the crowd for his efforts. After Big Show threatened to throw Torrie Wilson off a 20-foot ledge, Kurt Angle attempted to reason with him. However, this only caused Big Show to grab Angle instead and deliver a brutal chokeslam, sending him crashing to the ground below. Once Angle was cleared to compete again, he got his revenge on Big Show by knocking him out with a tranquilizer gun, allowing him to humiliate Big Show by shaving his head bald. As a result, a match was set for the two to face off at the 2004 No Mercy pay-per-view. When their match started, Big Show was able to dominate with ease. Angle decided that he no longer wanted to fight and started to retreat through the crowd. However, General Manager Teddy Long came out to tell Angle that if he quits the match, he'll never wrestle on SmackDown again. So, Angle made his way back to the ring. When the match restarted, Big Show continued to dominate until the referee was inadvertently knocked down. This opened up the opportunity for Angle to attack Big Show with a steel chair, but he was still unable to pick up the victory. Angle then went to grab the Tranquilizer from under the ring, but Big Show broke it over his leg. Big Show then executed his chokeslam finisher from the top rope to pick up the pinfall victory. After Edge forced Undertaker to leave WWE by defeating him in the signature tables, ladders, and chairs match, he decided to celebrate his accomplishment by marrying his fiancée, Vickie Guerrero. However, during their wedding ceremony, Triple H revealed that Edge was having an affair with Vickie Guerrero's wedding planner. In response, Vickie reinstated Undertaker to face Edge at SummerSlam inside Hell in a Cell as punishment. When their match started, Edge introduced his signature TLC weapons to gain the upper hand and speared Undertaker through the cell wall, allowing the action to spill ringside. There, Edge executed another spear on Undertaker through the announcer's table, but it wasn't enough to secure the victory. Edge then attempted to perform Old School on Undertaker, but Undertaker countered and sent Edge crashing through two tables. This opened the door for Undertaker to introduce his own weapons to the match, allowing him to gain the advantage and hit his signature Tombstone Piledriver to win the match. As Undertaker was making his way backstage, he looked up at the Titantron and saw Edge still moving. Determined to finish Edge for good, Undertaker marched back to the ring and chokeslammed Edge straight to hell. After Seth Rollins defeated John Cena to retain the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and win Cena's United States Championship, the Authority planned to honor Rollins with a commemorative statue. However, when the statue was revealed, Sting appeared instead to attack Rollins and challenge him for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. A match was then booked for them to face off at the 2015 Night of Champions pay-per-view. To make matters worse for Rollins, Cena invoked his rematch clause to face Rollins for the United States Championship on the same show. In the first match of his doubleheader main event, Rollins attempted to execute an attitude adjustment on Cena, but Cena was able to counter and hit his finisher on Rollins to pick up the victory and recapture the United States Championship. As Cena was celebrating his win, Rollins grabbed his WWE World Heavyweight Championship and started to leave, but Cena cut him off and gave him another attitude adjustment on the floor to ensure he stayed around for his next title defense. In the second round, Sting dominated the early moments, but things took a turn after Rollins sent him through the announcer's table and delivered a devastating turnbuckle powerbomb that would temporarily retire Sting. Rollins managed to defeat Sting and retain his title, but Rollins' heavy workload eventually caught up to him 2 months later, where he tore his MCL and was forced to vacate the championship. After helping Mr. McMahon win his Buried Alive match by burying Undertaker with several tons of dirt, Kane appeared at the funeral to give a eulogy. He said that Undertaker had already died a long time ago after no longer embracing his dark side, and he was happy that he was gone forever, and his next goal was to become World Heavyweight Champion. To achieve this, he entered the 2004 Royal Rumble, seeking to become the new #1 contender. However, during the match, Undertaker's signature music played, distracting Kane and allowing Booker T to eliminate him. Kane insisted that Undertaker was dead, prompting him to challenge Undertaker to prove he was alive by having a match at WrestleMania 20. Undertaker seemed to accept the challenge by violently shaking the ring. When it was time for Undertaker to show up at WrestleMania, he didn't come alone. He was accompanied by his druids and former manager Paul Bearer. Kane still couldn't believe what he was seeing, so Undertaker proved to him that he wasn't a ghost, and the match got underway. The two brawled until Kane delivered a chokeslam to Undertaker, but Undertaker sat right back up and retaliated with his own chokeslam and a Tombstone Piledriver to win the match, extending his undefeated WrestleMania record to 12-0. After Big Show attacked Rey Mysterio during the 2003 Backlash pay-per-view, the SmackDown locker room was disgusted with Big Show's actions. As a result, Brock Lesnar, who had just won the WWE Championship, stepped up to be the leader and called out Big Show, which led to a tag match being booked for Lesnar and Chris Benoit to face off against Big Show and A-Train. However, before their match started, Nunzio slapped Lesnar across the head, causing Lesnar to chase him into a room. This allowed other FBI members to trap Lesnar inside with a forklift, leaving Benoit to fight for himself during the tag match. Big Show and A-Train decimated Benoit, but before they could inflict permanent damage, Lesnar escaped and ran out to make the save by hitting A-Train with his F5 finisher. However, this distraction allowed Big Show to chokeslam Lesnar in the middle of the ring to close the show. To settle their differences, the two were booked to face off in WWE's first ever stretcher match at the upcoming Judgment Day pay-per-view. Big Show dominated in the early moments of the match by using the stretcher as a weapon. After he failed to roll Lesnar over the finish line, Lesnar gained the upper hand and got his own offense in. However, he also struggled to get Big Show over the line, so he disappeared backstage looking for something to help. While he was gone, Mysterio appeared out of nowhere to get his payback on Big Show, but Big Show overpowered him. Before Big Show could hurt Ray again, Lesnar emerged from backstage driving a forklift and delivered a flying crossbody on Big Show. From there, Lesnar placed a stretcher on the forklift, rolled Big Show on top of it, and drove the forklift with Big Show on it across the finish line to win the match. After defeating The Rock to win the WWE Championship for the first time in his career, Kurt Angle began employing questionable tactics during his title defenses to prolong his reign. As a result, WWE Commissioner Mick Foley booked Angle to defend his title against The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, The Undertaker, and Rikishi in a Hell in a Cell match at the 2000 Armageddon pay-per-view. WWE CEO Mr. McMahon did not want his 6 biggest stars trapped inside their most dangerous structure, so he went to each competitor begging them to withdraw from the match. However, they all refused, so the match proceeded as scheduled and quickly descended into chaos at the sound of the bell. Mr. McMahon made one last effort to stop the match by trying to rip down the cell, but he only managed to rip off the door before being carried away by local authorities. With the cell now open, all 6 men exited the cage and began fighting all over the arena and even on top of the cell, where The Undertaker took Rikishi out of the match by chokeslamming him off the cell onto a truck bed below. Despite all the mayhem, Kurt Angle managed to find a way to retain his title. After defeating John Cena to win the title at the 2011 Money in the Bank pay-per-view, CM Punk allowed his contract to expire, asserting that he was taking the WWE Championship with him forever. In response, Vince McMahon announced an 8-man tournament to crown a new champion the next night on Raw. Rey Mysterio and The Miz both advanced to the finals, but before their championship match could start, Vince McMahon interrupted to use the final segment to fire John Cena. However, before he could do so, Triple H interrupted, announcing that the board of directors had removed McMahon from power and that he was the replacement. The next week on Raw, Mysterio was able to defeat The Miz to win the WWE Championship and even thwarted Alberto Del Rio's cash-in attempt. However, Triple H announced that John Cena still deserved a title rematch, so Mysterio had to have his first title defense against Cena later that night. In an intense back-and-forth contest, Cena emerged victorious and reclaimed the WWE Championship. But immediately after the match, Punk returned to WWE with his title belt, which initiated a dispute on who was the true champion. So, a title match was scheduled for SummerSlam with Triple H as the special guest referee to determine the undisputed champion. After a closely contested battle, Punk emerged victorious when Triple H inadvertently missed Cena's foot on the bottom rope during the 3 count. But as Punk was celebrating, Kevin Nash made his first appearance in 8 years to attack Punk, which led to Alberto Del Rio cashing in his Money in the Bank contract to defeat Punk to become the new WWE champion. After Corey Rhodes defeated Big Show in a tables match to become the Intercontinental champion, a 20-man battle royale was scheduled for the Over the Limit pay-per-view to determine the new #1 contender. Christian won the battle royale, earning a title match later that night. Cody dominated in the early moments and nearly secured a victory, but Christian managed to execute his finishing move on Cody first, which made the difference and allowed Christian to become the new champion. Cody invoked his rematch clause in an attempt to reclaim the title, but he came up short again. He then shifted his focus to winning the Money in the Bank suitcase, but first he had to qualify for the match by winning a tag team match, in which Christian beat him again. After losing to Christian 3 times in a row, Cody hit his breaking point. However, he was granted another chance to qualify by the board of directors since he wasn't wasn't pinned in the tag team match. To qualify, he would have to defeat someone he hadn't been able to yet. Cody's frustration almost cost him the match, but in the end, he was able to escape Christian's finisher and hit him with a crossroads, finally beating Christian and qualifying for Money in the Bank. During that ladder match, it looked as if Cody was going to win the briefcase, but Christian squashed Cody's dreams, leading to Dolph Ziggler winning the match. After losing to Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 15, and then again 2 years later at WrestleMania 17, The Rock finally got a WrestleMania victory over Austin at WrestleMania 19. To celebrate this achievement, he held a rock concert during the Rock Appreciation Ceremony the next night on Raw. However, his concert was interrupted by Goldberg, who was making his WWE debut. Goldberg told The Rock that he's next and delivered a vicious spear, setting up a match between the two at the 2003 Backlash pay-per-view, which Goldberg ended up winning. The next night, Chris Jericho hosted his first ever highlight reel to interview Goldberg about his impressive victory. However, shortly into the segment, Jericho told Goldberg that no one wanted him in WWE. Jericho's jealousy led him to hire Lance Storm to try to run over Goldberg, but the attempt was unsuccessful. As a result, a match was set up between Goldberg and Jericho at the Bad Blood pay-per-view, which Goldberg ended up winning. These two impressive victories catapulted Goldberg into the title picture, and he was booked to compete for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam in the second ever Elimination Chamber match. When Goldberg entered the match, he dominated and single-handedly took out Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Jericho, leaving him alone with World Heavyweight Champion Triple H. But as he lined him up for a spear, Ric Flair passed Triple H his signature sledgehammer, which he used on Goldberg to pick up the victory. After the match, Triple H, Flair, and Orton gave Goldberg a vicious beatdown, leading to Goldberg putting his career on the line to get a one-on-one World Heavyweight Championship match against Triple H at the upcoming Unforgiven pay-per-view. During their match, Triple H tried to use the sledgehammer, but Goldberg countered with a spear and hit his signature jackhammer finisher to pick up the victory and win the World Heavyweight Championship. On the same night that Hulk Hogan defeated Triple H to become WWE Champion for the first time in 9 years, Undertaker defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin to become the new #1 contender. Consequently, they were scheduled to compete against each other at the 2002 Judgment Day pay-per-view. However, weeks before their match, Undertaker claimed to the WWE Universe that Hogan's real reason for leaving was his fear of Undertaker. Angered by this accusation, Hogan marched to the ring to prove he was not intimidated. That same night, Undertaker got his revenge by attacking Hogan with his own belt buckle, leaving him lifeless in the ring. Hogan sought payback on the next Monday Night Raw by stealing Undertaker's motorcycle and running it over with a semi-truck. But before their title match, Undertaker had the final laugh, hog-tying Hogan to his own motorcycle and dragging him around the backstage area. Despite these events, Hogan was able to dominate in the closing moments of their title match, and it looked like he was going to retain his title. However, Mr. McMahon made his way to the ring to provide a distraction. Hogan attacked McMahon with a signature leg drop, but as the referee was distracted, The Undertaker hit Hogan with a steel chair and executed a chokeslam, securing the pinfall and winning the Undisputed Championship. After Brock Lesnar broke Mr. McMahon's hip for attempting to fire Paul Heyman, McMahon returned to Raw days before his scheduled surgery to challenge Heyman to a fight. As McMahon gained the upper hand in the confrontation, Lesnar emerged from the backstage, ready to assault McMahon once again. Before he could do so, Triple H made a shocking return, seeking revenge on Lesnar for breaking his arm at SummerSlam the previous year. This led to a wild brawl at ringside, which ended with Triple H gaining the upper hand by delivering a spinebuster and a brutal steel chair shot. These events led to Triple H and Lesnar being booked in a no-holds-barred match at the upcoming WrestleMania 29 pay-per-view. However, after Triple H signed the contract, Heyman revealed that buried in the fine print was a stipulation stating that if Triple H were to lose the match, he would be forced to retire. As soon as their match started, the action spilled to the outside, where Lesnar sent Triple H crashing through an announcer's table. When the action returned to the ring, Shawn Michaels tried to get involved, but Lesnar took him out with an F5. However, the distraction was enough to allow Triple H to apply a submission hold on Lesnar, and then hit his pedigree finisher on the steel steps to secure the victory and save his career. The night after Sheamus defeated John Cena in a tables match to capture his first WWE Championship, he won the Slammy Award for Breakout Star of the Year and boasted about defending his title at WrestleMania. However, it was later announced that before WrestleMania, Sheamus would have to defend his title title against 5 others inside the Elimination Chamber. In the Elimination Chamber match, Sheamus managed to survive until the final 3, but Triple H caught him with a pedigree and eliminated him. Cena then made Triple H tap out to recapture the WWE Championship. However, Mr. McMahon appeared and announced that Cena had to defend his title immediately against arrested Batista, who quickly hit a spear and a Batista bomb on Cena, pinning him to become the new champion. The next night on Raw, Cena requested a rematch for the title at WrestleMania. McMahon agreed, on the condition that Cena could defeat Batista later that night. When their match began, Batista intentionally got disqualified, setting up their title match for WrestleMania 26. Their WrestleMania match was a non-stop back-and-forth battle until Cena gained the upper hand by reversing a Batista bomb into his STF finisher, forcing Batista to submit and securing Cena's 9th World Championship. After Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Mr. McMahon during the St. Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view, he earned a #1 contender shot for the WWF Champion at WrestleMania 15. The title was held by Mankind, who had just retained it against The Rock in a last man standing match during the same show. The next night on Raw, McMahon booked Mankind to defend the title against The Rock again, this time in a ladder match with Paul Wright as the referee. Wright chokeslammed Mankind off the ladder, allowing The Rock to win the championship and book himself in the main event of WrestleMania. A regular referee officiated the match as the competitors brawled around the arena. Once the action returned to the ring, the referee was accidentally taken out with a chair shot, forcing a new referee to take over. However, The Rock took out that referee after he didn't count fast enough. This allowed Vince McMahon to get involved and start a 2-on-1 beatdown on Austin. Before they could inflict too much damage, a recovered Mankind made his way to the ring to restore order and officially referee the match. From there, The Rock tried to finish Austin for good, but Austin reversed it into a stunner and pinned The Rock to become the new WWF champion. After attacking Roman Reigns backstage and sending his stretcher flying off the loading dock, Braun Strowman tried to finish him off by tipping over the ambulance carrying him. The next week on Raw, Braun continued his path of destruction by taking out other superstars, prompting Reigns to return early from his injuries to challenge Braun at the Payback pay-per-view. However, Braun easily defeated Reigns and brutally attacked him with steel steps after the match. Braun attempted to continue his assault backstage, but Reigns managed to counter by slamming an ambulance door on Braun's arms several times. This altercation led to the two being booked to face off in an ambulance match at the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. During their match, both competitors fought up the entrance ramp, where Reigns sent Braun through the stage. Reigns then set up for a spear, but Braun moved at the last second, causing Reigns to charge into the ambulance. Immediately after losing the match, Reigns delivered a spear to Braun and threw him into the ambulance. Reigns then drove the ambulance into the parking garage, reversed it, and crashed it into a production truck. After JBL narrowly retained his WWE Championship in WWE's first ever barbed wire cage match, he hosted a party on SmackDown to celebrate the longest title reign in the past decade. However, the celebration was cut short by the new #1 contender, John Cena, who launched a surprise attack on JBL. This incident led to JBL getting the ultimate payback by making Cena lose his US Championship to Orlando Jordan and then destroying his customized spinner belt. Cena attempted to retaliate physically, but Teddy Long warned that if he laid a hand on JBL first, he would lose his WrestleMania match. As a result, Cena started doing several things to provoke JBL. When Cena went as far as to vandalize JBL's limousine, JBL had Cena arrested, which ended up being a calculated plan on JBL's end to attack Cena 1 week before their WrestleMania match. After both men made their elaborate entrances and the match started, it was clear that JBL's attack had given him an advantage. However, when JBL set up for his finishing move, Cena was able to counter with his own finisher, which was enough to pin JBL and win the WWE Championship for the first time in his illustrious career. After being thrown off the Armageddon pay-per-view set by Mr. Kennedy during their last ride match, Undertaker miraculously fought back and emerged victorious. Believing his feud with Kennedy was over, Undertaker shifted his focus to winning the World Heavyweight Championship. However, during his beat-the-clock qualification match, Mr. Kennedy interfered and distracted Undertaker, causing him to run out of time. As a result, Kennedy secured the best time, making him the #1 contender for Batista's title. The Undertaker was given a chance to be added to the title match if he could defeat Kennedy one-on-one. However, during their match, Kennedy attacked Batista, who was at ringside, prompting Batista to retaliate against Kennedy. This led to The Undertaker being disqualified, solidifying Kennedy versus Batista as a singles match for the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Despite Kennedy's attempts to use underhanded tactics during the match, Batista overcame them and defeated Kennedy to retain the title. Later that same night, Undertaker entered the Royal Rumble at number 30 and won the match after eliminating Shawn Michaels last, earning himself a title match against Batista at WrestleMania. When their WrestleMania match began, both wrestlers attempted to take each other out early, leading to a brawl that spilled to the outside, where Batista slammed The Undertaker through the announcer's table. However, it wasn't enough to secure the victory. The Undertaker fought back, eventually hitting a tombstone piledriver on Batista to win the match and the World Heavyweight Championship. After Brock Lesnar defeated Kurt Angle in a 60-minute Iron Man match to win the WWE Championship, Mr. McMahon held an official title presentation to congratulate the new champion. As Lesnar began his victory speech, Undertaker, accompanied by Stephanie McMahon, interrupted, with Stephanie announcing that Undertaker was now the #1 contender. In retaliation, McMahon booked the first ever father versus daughter I Quit match for the upcoming No Mercy pay-per-view. When their match began, Mr. McMahon viciously attacked Stephanie, applying submission holds in an attempt to make her quit early. When that failed, McMahon's mistress, Sable, attempted to hand him a steel pipe, but Stephanie's mother, Linda McMahon, intervened by taking out Sable and slapping McMahon. This gave Stephanie the chance to grab the pipe and launch a counterattack against her father. Despite her efforts, Mr. McMahon overpowered Stephanie and began choking her with a lead pipe. Seeing this, Linda threw in the towel to stop the match, giving Mr. McMahon the victory. But McMahon's night wasn't over yet. In the main event, Brock Lesnar had to defend his WWE Championship in a biker chain match against Undertaker. Undertaker was on the verge of victory, but just before he could use the chain on Lesnar, McMahon interfered and took him out, allowing Lesnar to strike Undertaker with the chain and secure the win. After John Cena officially closed the door on his rivalry with Wade Barrett, he shifted his focus to making history by winning the biggest Royal Rumble ever so that he could main event that year's WrestleMania. However, after advancing to the Final Four, WWE Champion The Miz interfered and eliminated Cena from the match, meaning Cena's last chance to main event WrestleMania was to win the 2011 Elimination Chamber. The match was filled with non-stop back-and-forth action, and Cena miraculously emerged as the victor after finally eliminating CM Punk, officially earning him a chance to face The Miz for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 27. During their match, both wrestlers executed their finishing maneuvers on one another, but neither could secure a 3 count. The action then spilled outside the ring, where both wrestlers were counted out. At that moment, The Rock, who was that year's guest host, stormed to the ring and restarted the match. Cena then dragged Miz back into the ring and appeared poised to secure the victory, but The Rock snuck up behind Cena and hit him with a rock bottom, allowing Miz to get the pinfall victory and retain the WWE Championship. After Shawn Michaels lost all his money due to the 2008 financial crisis, he sought employment from successful businessman John Bradshaw Layfield to help him win his World Heavyweight Championship match against John Cena at the upcoming Royal Rumble pay-per-view. During the match, Michaels decided to superkick JBL in the face, allowing John Cena to regain the title. Furious about the betrayal, JBL wanted to own Shawn Michaels' name and likeness forever, while Michaels wanted out of his contract with JBL. Therefore, the two were scheduled to settle their differences at the upcoming No Way Out pay-per-view. After a close back-and-forth fight, Michaels won the match, releasing himself from JBL's contract with full pay. The next night on Raw, JBL announced that he was moving on from Michaels and his next goal was to end Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, but Michaels interrupted him to declare that he had the same goal. So, the two agreed to face off again, with the winner earning the right to face Undertaker at WrestleMania. After another close back-and-forth contest, Michaels emerged victorious, prompting Undertaker to immediately show up and send a message. Shortly into their match, the action spilled to the outside, and Michaels attempted a moonsault but missed, so Undertaker attempted a dive of his own, but Michaels used the cameraman as a shield. Once back in the ring, both men exchanged defensive maneuvers until Undertaker was able to reverse one of Michaels' moves into a tombstone piledriver twice, securing the pinfall victory. After Team WWF defeated the Alliance at the 2001 Survivor Series pay-per-view. Vince McMahon thought he had regained full control of the company, but before McMahon could go too far, Ric Flair made his first WWE appearance in over 8 years, revealing that he had purchased Shane and Stephanie's stock, making him co-owner of WWF alongside McMahon. So they booked Stone Cold Steve Austin to defend his WWF Championship against Kurt Angle, and The Rock to defend his WCW Championship against Chris Jericho. The winners of these matches would then face off later that night to determine the undisputed champion. During the WWF Championship match, Angle nearly won after delivering a low blow and hitting his Angle Slam finisher. However, when Angle attempted a stunner, Austin reversed it with one of his own, securing the victory and advancing to the finals. In the WCW Championship match, The Rock was on the verge of retaining his title, but Mr. McMahon distracted the referee, allowing Jericho to hit The Rock with a low blow and a rock bottom, leading to an upset victory. In the final match for the Undisputed Championship, Austin made Jericho tap out, but the referee was incapacitated at ringside. Booker T then intervened. This allowed Jericho to capitalize, and a recovered referee counted the pin, making Jericho the first undisputed champion in WWF history. After The Fiend defeated Braun Strowman at the 2020 SummerSlam pay-per-view to win the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns made a shocking return and attacked both superstars. As a result, a no-holds-barred triple threat match for the Universal Championship was proposed. However, before the match could become official, General Manager Adam Pearce had to get signatures from all 3 competitors. After receiving signatures from the other 2 competitors, Pearce located Reigns, where it was revealed that Reigns had now aligned himself with Paul Heyman. Reigns assured Pearce that he would be at the Payback pay-per-view, but did not sign the contract. As The Fiend started making his entrance for his title defense, Braun Strowman attacked him from behind, and the two began fighting throughout the arena. Once the action made its way inside the ring, The Fiend executed a devastating superplex on Strowman, causing the entire ring to implode. However, Roman Reigns finally appeared and signed the contract, officially entering him into the match. The Fiend attempted to fend off Reigns' attack, but Reigns countered with a low blow, executed a spear on Strowman, and pinned him to become Universal Champion. After Brock Lesnar threw a one-legged Zach Gowen down a flight of stairs, Stephanie McMahon went to her father and demanded that Lesnar be arrested. Instead, Mr. McMahon scheduled Stephanie to face Lesnar in a match later that night. Lesnar wasted no time attacking Stephanie and tried to send her to the hospital, but before he could do too much damage, WWE Champion Kurt Angle came to her aid and attacked Lesnar. As a result, Lesnar and Angle were booked to compete in a 60-minute Iron Man match to settle their differences. As soon as the match began, Lesnar attacked Angle with a steel chair, allowing him to pick up multiple falls by pinfall, submission, and countout to go up 3-1. Angle fought back and hit an Angle slam to close in on Lesnar, but then the referee was knocked out, allowing Lesnar to strike Angle with the title belt and then deliver a superplex from the top rope and go up 5-2. Angle eventually narrowed the gap to 5-4, but as he attempted to tie the match by forcing Lesnar to tap out to an ankle lock, time expired, making Lesnar the winner and the new WWE Champion. After severing ties with his manager Paul Bearer by entombing him in concrete, Undertaker challenged JBL, who had recently become champion by defeating Eddie Guerrero. During their match, JBL cunningly provoked Undertaker by getting himself disqualified. In retaliation, Undertaker chokeslammed JBL through the roof of his limousine. JBL desperately tried to avoid any kind of rematch, but Teddy Long eventually booked him to defend his title in a last ride match at the upcoming No Mercy pay-per-view. Their match was full of non-stop back-and-forth action until Undertaker gained the upper hand by tombstoning JBL on the steel steps and chokeslamming him through the announcer's table. However, when he tried to load JBL into the hearse, Heidenreich emerged from the back and attacked Undertaker, loading him into the hearse and signaling the driver. Before the driver could take off, Undertaker regained consciousness and exited the hearse to attack Heidenreich. This distraction allowed JBL to hit his clothesline from hell, reload Undertaker back into the hearse, and signal the driver to drive off, securing an unexpected victory. Backstage, the hearse driver was revealed to be Paul Heyman, who then signaled Heidenreich to slam his car into the hearse in an attempt to take The Undertaker out for good. After CM Punk began his ascent to retrieve a record-breaking third Money in the Bank briefcase, Paul Heyman betrayed his client by knocking him down and smashing his head with a ladder. Punk declared war on Heyman the next night on Raw, but before he could lay hands on him, Brock Lesnar appeared and attacked Punk. As a result, a no DQ match was booked between Punk and Lesnar for the upcoming SummerSlam pay-per-view. During their match, it looked like Punk was about to pick up the win, but Heyman interfered and prevented him from doing so. This allowed Lesnar to hit Punk with his F5 finisher on a steel chair to secure the victory. Following this, Punk earned an opportunity to finally get his hands on Heyman inside Hell in a Cell. Before their match officially started, Heyman tried to outsmart Punk by riding a forklift to the top of the cell while his client Ryback took care of Punk inside. However, Punk managed to take out Ryback, then climbed to the top of the cell to confront Heyman. When Heyman begged for forgiveness, Punk gave him a kiss on the head, then beat him with a kendo stick and hit him with his GTS finisher. After Kevin Owens attacked Mr. McMahon with a vicious headbutt and frog splash, Sami confronted Owens, saying he had gone too far. This enraged Owens, who then attacked Sami. However, before he could inflict permanent damage, Mr. McMahon's son Shane came out to make the save. This led to the two being booked in a Falls Count Anywhere Hell in a Cell match at the upcoming pay-per-view. In the early moments of their match, Owens dominated. However, after avoiding a cannonball that sent Owens through a table, Shane got the upper hand and performed his signature coast-to-coast on Owens, but only managed a 2 count. Shane then used bolt cutters to open the cell door, bringing the fight to the outside. Owens regained the upper hand and set Shane on the announcer's table to deliver a massive elbow drop from the top of the cell. However, Owens hesitated and Shane climbed the cell to continue the fight. Owens tried to flee by climbing down, but Shane followed and sent Owens off the side of the cell and through the announcer's table. Determined to inflict more damage, Shane placed Owens on another announcer's table and climbed the cell to deliver his own elbow drop from the top. At this moment, Sami appeared and quickly pulled Owens to safety, allowing Owens to win the match. The night after successfully defending the WWE Championship against Ryback at the 2013 Payback pay-per-view, John Cena challenged anyone to step forward for a shot at the title. This cued Mark Henry to emerge from the back wearing a salmon suit, seemingly to retire. However, after an emotional promo that prompted Cena to congratulate him, Henry revealed it was a ruse by attacking Cena. As a result, Henry was scheduled to face Cena for the title at the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view, but Henry would end up coming up short after Cena made him tap out to his STF finisher. General Manager Brad Maddox rewarded Cena's impressive victory by allowing him to choose his own SummerSlam opponent. Several superstars pled their case, but at the end of the night, Cena listened to the audience's opinion and chose Daniel Bryan. This was later proved to be a poor decision because at the end of their match, Daniel Bryan delivered a flying knee to Cena and pinned him to become the new WWE Champion. However, during his celebration, the special guest referee Triple H delivered a brutal pedigree to Bryan, allowing Randy Orton to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and pin Bryan to become the new champion. When Edge stole Lita from his best friend Matt Hardy after Hardy was released, Hardy began buying tickets to events to jump the barricade and attack Edge during his matches. This led to Hardy getting arrested, but Vince McMahon saw a potential money-making matchup. As a result, he rehired Hardy and booked him to compete against Edge in a singles match at the upcoming SummerSlam pay-per-view. Shortly into their match, Hardy was busted open after hitting the ring post, forcing the referee to end the match because Hardy could not continue. The two were then booked to compete in a street fight the following week on Raw, but that match ended in a no contest after Hardy threw himself and Edge off the stage into electrical equipment. So Eric confided the action by booking them to compete in a cage match at the upcoming Unforgiven pay-per-view. Their match was full of non-stop back-and-forth action and was tightly contested until Hardy was able to gain the upper hand and delivered a massive leg drop off the cage on Edge to win the match. However, these two were not going to stop fighting as long as they were on the same show. So a loser leaves Raw ladder match was scheduled, with Edge's Money in the Bank briefcase also on the line. It seemed Hardy was going to win this match as well, but Lita attacked Hardy and prevented him from climbing the ladder, which led to Edge retaining the briefcase and banishing Hardy from Monday Night Raw. After Goldberg entered the 2004 Royal Rumble at number 30, it seemed like he was poised to win the match and headline WrestleMania 20. However, WWE Champion Brock Lesnar derailed derailed those plans by interfering in the Rumble, leading to his elimination. Chris Benoit ultimately won the match and challenged Raw champion Triple H the following night, leaving SmackDown without a #1 contender. To address this, General Manager Paul Heyman booked a 15-man Royal Rumble to determine who would challenge Lesnar for the title. Eddie Guerrero won the match and was scheduled to face Lesnar for the championship at the upcoming pay-per-view. 2 weeks before the event, Raw General Manager Stone Cold Steve Austin gave Goldberg a front-row ticket to the show, allowing him to seek revenge on Lesnar. During the match, just when it seemed like Lesnar was going to retain the title, Goldberg interfered and delivered a spear to Lesnar. This allowed Eddie Guerrero to hit his frog splash and pin Lesnar, becoming WWE Champion for the first and only time in his career. Goldberg and Lesnar were then booked to settle their differences in a match at WrestleMania 20, with Austin as the special guest referee. However, the match went on to become one of the most disappointing in WrestleMania history. After costing John Cena the WWE Championship by chokeslamming him through a spotlight at the 2009 Backlash pay-per-view, Big Show was rewarded with a title opportunity if he could win a #1 contenders match against Batista. However, during that match, John Cena distracted Big Show, causing him to get counted out and lose. To settle their differences, the two were scheduled to face each other at the upcoming Judgment Day pay-per-view. Big Show dominated the early moments of the match, but Cena miraculously reversed a KO punch into an attitude adjustment to secure the pinfall victory. Furious after his loss, Big Show knew Cena wouldn't back down from a challenge, so he challenged him to a submission match at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. The stipulation was expected to give Big Show an advantage due to his size, but Cena got creative. He tied Big Show's leg to the ring ropes, allowing him to apply his signature submission move and force Big Show to tap out. A couple of weeks later, Big Show was granted one final opportunity to defeat Cena on an episode of Monday Night Raw. With unexpected help from The Miz, he was finally able to secure the victory. After Roman Reigns successfully defended the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the 2016 Extreme Rules pay-per-view, he was attacked by Seth Rollins, who made a surprise return after being injured and forced to relinquish the title the year before. Consequently, Shane McMahon booked a championship match between the two for the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Their match was full of back-and-forth action. However, things took a turn in Rollins' favor after Reigns attempted a spear but missed and crashed into the barricade. Rollins then reversed a Reigns spear into a pedigree and followed it with a second pedigree, which was enough to pin Reigns and recapture the WWE Championship. As Rollins began to celebrate his win, Dean Ambrose's music blared through the arena, alarming Rollins. Earlier that same night, Ambrose had won the Money in the Bank briefcase, giving him the power to challenge for the title anytime and anywhere. While Rollins braced for Ambrose's entrance, Ambrose snuck up from behind, hitting him with the briefcase, and cashed it in to force Rollins to defend his newly won title. Ambrose then hit his Dirty Deeds finisher on Rollins and pinned him, becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion for the first time in his career. After Braun Strowman prevented Kevin Owens from winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, Owens attempted to befriend Braun by offering to protect him now that he had the contract. However, Braun refused and began humiliating Owens by flipping his car over in the parking lot and locking him inside a portable toilet. As a result, a cage match was booked to settle their differences at the 2018 Extreme Rules pay-per-view. During the match, Owens handcuffed Braun to the ring ropes and attacked him. However, as Owens tried to escape the cage to secure victory, Braun broke free from the handcuffs, caught up to Owens, and chokeslammed him off the top of the cage through an announcer table. Owens was carried out on a stretcher, but he technically won the match since his feet touched the floor first. As a reward, Owens was given an opportunity to win Braun's Money in the Bank briefcase if he could defeat him at the upcoming SummerSlam pay-per-view. Owens had the advantage of obtaining the briefcase by disqualification or countout, but in the opening minutes of their match, Braun attacked Owens with a choke slam on the steel entranceway, then hit a running power slam in the ring to pin Owens in less than 2 minutes and retain his briefcase. A couple of months after defeating the hardcore legend Mick Foley at WrestleMania 22, Edge made another hardcore statement by interfering and spearing John Cena through a table during Cena's title defense, which allowed Rob Van Dam to win the WWE Championship. However, RVD's title win made him a bit cocky, prompting him to put the title on the line against Edge and Cena in a triple threat match. During the match, Cena executed his finisher on RVD, but Edge immediately nailed Cena with the belt and pinned RVD to become the new WWE Champion. In response, Cena decided to catch Edge off guard by attacking him at his hotel room, which led to a title match being booked between the two for Saturday night's main event. During their match, Cena was about to force Edge to tap out, but Lita pulled the referee out of the ring and punched him in the face, causing a disqualification and allowing Edge to retain the title. After the match, Cena drove Edge through the announcer's table, setting up a title rematch for SummerSlam. When it looked like Cena was about to win this match, Lita ran in and became a victim of Cena's finisher. This distraction allowed Edge to retain the title again. Cena then proposed another title rematch, allowing Edge to pick the place and stipulation. Edge agreed and chose a signature tables, ladders, and chairs match, which would take place at Unforgiven in his hometown of Toronto, Canada. After a close back-and-forth fight, Cena delivered his FU finisher off the ladder through 2 tables, finally winning the WWE Championship and going on to hold the title for over a year. After Jeff Hardy defeated Edge to become World Heavyweight Champion for the first time in his career, CM Punk immediately cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase and abruptly ended Hardy's title reign with a quick GTS. Hardy invoked his rematch clause to face Punk for the title at the upcoming Bash pay-per-view. However, during the match, Punk intentionally got himself disqualified, allowing him to retain the title. As a result, General Manager Theodore Long decided to give Hardy another opportunity by booking them to face off again at the upcoming Night of Champions pay-per-view. During this match, Punk tried to get himself disqualified again by getting counted out, but Hardy got Punk back in the ring and hit his signature finisher to win back the World Heavyweight Championship. After the loss, Punk told the fans they shouldn't be happy about having a junkie alcoholic as a champion. He then invoked his rematch clause to face Hardy at SummerSlam and found openings to attack Hardy leading up to the show. Punk's violence led to Theodore Long adding a tables, ladders, and chairs stipulation, which favored Hardy during most of their title match. However, in the end, Punk prevailed and recaptured the World Heavyweight Championship. After Hardy invoked another rematch clause, it was decided that their feud needed to end for good. They were booked in a steel cage. Loser leaves WWE match, which Punk ended up winning, forcing Jeff Hardy to leave the WWE. After Daniel Bryan defeated John Cena to finally win the WWE Championship, special guest referee Triple H attacked him during his celebration, allowing Randy Orton to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and become the new champion. In response, Bryan invoked his rematch clause to face Orton at the 2013 Night of Champions pay-per-view. In a closely contested match, Bryan landed his flying knee finisher on Orton and pinned him to regain the title. However, the following night on Raw, Triple H stripped Bryan of the championship, citing a fast 3 count by the referee. As a result, a rematch was scheduled for the upcoming Battleground pay-per-view. However, during that match, Big Show interfered by knocking out both competitors and the referee, leading to a no contest. To prevent further outside interference, their next title rematch was booked to take place inside Hell in a Cell, with Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee. During the Hell in a Cell match, Orton attempted an RKO, but Bryan countered, knocking Orton into Michaels. Concerned for Michaels, Triple H and a trainer entered the cell to check on him. Frustrated, Triple H pushed Bryan, promoting Bryan to hit Triple H with a running knee. However, Michaels immediately retaliated with sweet chin music, allowing Orton to pin Bryan and win the battle. Following these events, Bryan hijacked Monday Night Raw, earning himself one final championship opportunity, contingent upon defeating Triple H. He accomplished this in the opening match of WrestleMania 30, which propelled him to the main event later that night, where he triumphantly claimed the WWE Championship. After getting his head shaved bald at WrestleMania 23, Mr. McMahon wanted to destroy Bobby Lashley's career, so he booked Lashley to defend his ECW Championship in a 3-on-1 handicap match against Team McMahon at the 2007 Backlash pay-per-view. Lashley managed to deliver some impressive offense when the match started, but Team McMahon's numbers were too much to overcome, and Mr. McMahon pinned Lashley to become the new ECW champion. McMahon took every opportunity to flaunt his new championship and eventually gave Lashley a chance to regain the title, but only if Lashley could defeat 4 wrestlers consecutively in a gauntlet match. Despite McMahon thinking this was an impossible challenge, Lashley was able to overcome the odds, and as a result, McMahon was booked to defend his title in a street fight against Lashley at the upcoming One Night Stand pay-per-view. McMahon used his usual shady tactics to try to retain his championship, but Lashley overcame them and defeated McMahon to win back the ECW title. After the loss, McMahon started to spiral into a deep depression, so a Mr. McMahon Appreciation Night was scheduled for Raw in an attempt to cheer him up. However, at the end of the night, as he entered his luxury limousine scene, it exploded. The entire wrestling world began to mourn the loss of McMahon. But a week later, McMahon opened up Monday Night Raw after an unexpected tragedy. After making a shocking early return from injury by entering the 2008 Royal Rumble at number 30, John Cena went on to win the match by last eliminating Triple H, earning a title shot at WrestleMania. However, the next night on Raw, Cena informed WWE Champion Randy Orton that he couldn't wait until WrestleMania, so the two agreed to face each other at the upcoming pay-per-view instead. During the match, Orton attempted to win by countout, but when that plan backfired, he resorted to slapping the referee to get himself disqualified, allowing him to retain the title. Later that same night, Triple H became the #1 contender by winning the Elimination Chamber match, setting up a showdown between Orton and Triple H at WrestleMania. However, the following night on Raw, Cena demanded another opportunity. In response, William Regal announced that if Cena could defeat Orton with Triple H as the guest referee, he would be added to the title match at WrestleMania. Despite Orton dominating early, Cena managed to hit his FU finisher to secure the victory. After the match, Triple H wasted no time trying to gain an advantage by delivering a pedigree to both opponents. However, during their triple threat title match, Orton executed some unique offense on both challengers and ultimately retained the title. Just as Brock Lesnar was about to retain the WWE Championship at Survivor Series, his manager, Paul Heyman, shockingly betrayed him. Enraged, Lesnar pursued Heyman, which allowed Big Show to attack him with a steel chair and deliver a chokeslam. Big Show then pinned Lesnar, becoming the WWE Champion and the first person ever to pin Lesnar. On the following episode of SmackDown, Lesnar unleashed his frustration on Matt Hardy by throwing him through a wall. In response, Stephanie McMahon decided to suspend Lesnar and announced a fatal four-way match to determine the new #1 contender. Kurt Angle emerged victorious from the match and was set to challenge Big Show for the title at the 2002 Armageddon pay-per-view. When their match started, both competitors exchanged defensive maneuvers until Kurt Angle gained the upper hand and applied an ankle lock. However, Big Show was able to reverse it, which led to the referee being inadvertently knocked out. This opened the door for A-Train to interfere and attack Angle, allowing Big Show to regain the advantage and deliver a chokeslam. But before he could pin Angle, Brock Lesnar interfered and took out Big Show with an F5. This allowed Angle to secure the pinfall victory and become the WWE Champion. After Kane was forced to remove his mask and reveal his identity for the first time in his career, he took his anger out by giving Linda McMahon a vicious tombstone piledriver. This caused her son Shane to return to WWE for the first time in 2 years to confront Kane. Shane sent Kane crashing off the stage, but Kane was unfazed by the attack. Later, Kane got his revenge on Shane by interfering during Shane's match with Chris Jericho. The two fought all the way backstage, where Shane got the upper hand and tried to take Kane out by knocking him into a flaming dumpster. However, Kane showed that wasn't enough by emerging the next week on Raw and getting revenge on Shane in a cruel and unusual fashion. To settle their differences, a last man standing match was booked for the 2003 Unforgiven pay-per-view. Their match was full of non-stop back-and-forth action. When Shane finally got the upper hand but was unable to keep Kane down, he panicked and resorted to extreme measures in an attempt to secure the victory. However, Kane moved at the last second, sending Shane crashing through the set, which allowed Kane to win the match. The next night, Shane was interviewed about his condition from the hospital via satellite. Shockingly, Kane showed up at the hospital to inflict even more damage on Shane. With Shane out of action, Kane started to decimate other wrestlers on the roster. However, Shane surprisingly showed up on Raw during one of Kane's matches and lured him backstage, where he trapped him in a limousine and sent it crashing into a trailer. After all this chaos, they were booked to compete in an ambulance match at the 2003 Survivor Series pay-per-view. When the match started, it immediately spilled ringside and then backstage. Shane was able to get the upper hand and attempted to load Kane into the ambulance, but Kane fought back and started to get his own offense in as they fought back to the main entranceway. From there, Shane was able to gain the upper hand again and hit a huge coast-to-coast off of the ambulance. However, he still struggled to load Kane into the ambulance, which gave Kane the opening to attack a tired Shane. Kane then hit a tombstone piledriver on the concrete floor, knocking Shane out and allowing Kane to load him into the ambulance and win the match. When Shawn Michaels made his return to wrestling after a 4-year absence, Triple H shockingly betrayed him, leading to an unsanctioned street fight being booked for the upcoming SummerSlam pay-per-view to settle their differences. After an intense back-and-forth battle, Shawn Michaels Michaels emerged victorious. However, Triple H launched a brutal post-match assault with a sledgehammer, leaving Michaels to be carried out on a stretcher. In the aftermath of the attack, Eric rewarded Triple H with the World Heavyweight Championship, while Michaels could only watch from a wheelchair via satellite. Over the next few months, Triple H successfully defended his title, but his actions earned him many enemies. To address the mounting tensions, Eric booked Triple H to defend his title against 5 other competitors in the first ever Elimination Chamber match. To make matters worse for Triple H, one of those competitors was Michaels, who had resurfaced from injury seeking revenge. The historic Survivor Series match was filled with non-stop back-and-forth action, ultimately leaving Michaels and Triple H as the final 2 competitors. After Michaels barely managed to kick out of a pedigree, Triple H attempted another, but Michaels countered with sweet chin music and pinned Triple H to win the World Heavyweight Championship for the first time in his career. After losing to Undertaker at WrestleMania 25, Shawn Michaels spiraled into a deep depression, contemplating spending the rest of his life as a middle school cafeteria chef. However, Triple H convinced him to return to WWE for a D-Generation X reunion. Their tag team run was filled with memorable matches and hilarious moments, but it was clear that the WrestleMania loss still haunted Michaels. When their match won a Slammy Award for Match of the Year, Michaels challenged the now World Heavyweight Champion Undertaker to a rematch at WrestleMania 26. Despite Undertaker's initial refusal, Michaels became obsessed with earning another shot. He failed to win the Royal Rumble and to qualify for the Elimination Chamber, leading him to interfere in Undertaker's title match, causing him to lose the World Heavyweight Championship. This interference prompted Undertaker to agree to the rematch on the condition that Michaels put his career on the line. Michaels accepted, setting up the streak versus career match for WrestleMania 26. In their highly anticipated bout, both men exchanged their signature moves with relentless intensity until the action spilled outside the ring. Michaels managed to reverse Undertaker's powerbomb into sweet chin music and followed up with a moonsault through the announcer's table, yet he still couldn't end the streak. Undertaker regained control and delivered a jumping tombstone piledriver to secure the pinfall victory, ending Michaels' career. After Seth Rollins injured his knee and was forced to relinquish the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, a 16-man tournament was organized to crown a new champion at the upcoming Survivor Series pay-per-view. In the semi-finals, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose emerged victorious, setting up a main event showdown between the 2 former Shield members for the vacant title. In a closely contested match, Reigns claimed the championship for the first time in his career. However, as he was celebrating, Sheamus caught him off guard with a brogue kick, cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and pinned Reigns to become the new champion. Following the loss, Reigns invoked his rematch clause and was booked to face Sheamus for the title in a tables, ladders, and chairs match at the next pay-per-view. During their hard-fought battle, Reigns seemed poised to regain the championship, but the League of Nations interfered, attacking Reigns and allowing Sheamus to secure the victory. The next night on Raw, Vince McMahon granted Reigns one final rematch against Sheamus for the title, with the stipulation that if Reigns lost, he would be forced to retire from wrestling forever. Despite facing multiple interferences once again, Reigns showed resilience and overcame the odds to defeat Sheamus and recapture the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. After losing his return match to John Cena at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, Brock Lesnar took out his frustration by attacking Triple H and breaking his arm. When Triple H returned from injury, he challenged Lesnar to a no disqualification match at SummerSlam. Just days before they were set to face off, Lesnar ambushed Triple H's best friend backstage, dragged him to the ring, hit him with his F5 finisher, and then broke his arm. Triple H wasted no time trying to take Lesnar out for good once their match started, but Lesnar ultimately gained the upper hand and won by breaking Triple H's arm for a second time. Triple H got his revenge 8 months later by defeating Lesnar at WrestleMania 29, prompting a rubber match to be scheduled at the 2013 Extreme Rules pay-per-view inside a steel cage. During that match, Paul Heyman managed to find a way into the cage to provide a distraction, prompting Triple H to take him out with a pedigree. Later, just when it seemed like Triple H was about to win, Heyman recovered and delivered a low blow, allowing Lesnar to strike Triple H with a sledgehammer and then hit his F5 finisher to secure the pinfall victory. After Undertaker made a shocking return to confront Randy Orton, who had attempted to end Undertaker's career 2 months earlier by locking him in a casket and setting it on fire, the two were set to settle their feud inside Hell in a Cell at the 2005 Armageddon pay-per-view. When the match began, both wrestlers used various weapons to gain the advantage. At one point, Bob Orton reached through a hole in the cell to grab Undertaker, allowing Randy to take control. Randy then attempted the top rope splash through a table, but Undertaker kicked out at 2. As the match continued, the referee was inadvertently knocked out. This prompted EMTs to open the cell doors, allowing Bob Orton to enter the cell. Taking advantage of the distraction, Randy reversed a tombstone piledriver with one of his own, but Undertaker kicked out once again. Bob Orton then attempted to strike Undertaker with his own urn, but Undertaker countered, delivering a tombstone piledriver to Bob. He followed up with another tombstone on Randy, finally securing the hard-fought victory. Following the win, Undertaker shifted his focus to challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship, sending a chilling paranormal message to the reigning champion Kurt Angle. The week after Brock Lesnar narrowly missed a shooting star press but rallied to defeat Kurt Angle and win the WWE Championship, General Manager Stephanie McMahon announced a tournament to determine the new #1 contender for Brock's title at the 2003 Backlash pay-per-view. Among the participants was the up-and-coming John Cena, who had his knee shattered by Lesnar just months earlier. Despite this setback, Cena managed to defeat Eddie Guerrero and The Undertaker to advance to the finals, where he overcame Chris Benoit to earn a shot at the title. In the days leading up to their match, Cena tried to gain an advantage by attacking Lesnar with his signature steel chain and the WWE Championship. However, when the title match began, Lesnar quickly took control in the early moments. Cena attempted to turn the tide by delivering a low blow, but when he tried to use a steel chain, the referee confiscated it. This allowed Lesnar to capitalize, hitting his F5 finisher on Cena and pinning him to retain the title. Surprisingly, these two wouldn't have another singles match until 9 years later when Lesnar made his long-awaited return to WWE, challenging Cena at the 2012 Extreme Rules pay-per-view in a bid to become the new face of the company. However, Cena managed to defeat Lesnar, finally avenging his loss nearly a decade later. After outlasting 7 other competitors to win the 2011 Money in the Bank briefcase, Daniel Bryan initially declared he would wait until WrestleMania 28 to cash in his contract. However, when World Heavyweight Champion Mark Henry was knocked out by Big Show, Bryan seized the opportunity by cashing in his contract and pinning Henry to win the title. Shortly afterward, General Manager Teddy Long announced that the match was voided because Henry was not medically cleared to compete. As a result, the briefcase was returned to Bryan, and Big Show and Henry were scheduled to settle their differences in a chairs match at the upcoming pay-per-view. During that match, Big Show delivered a knockout punch and pinned Henry to become the new champion. Immediately afterward, Henry attacked Big Show and executed a DDT onto a pile of chairs. Seizing the moment yet again, Daniel Bryan rushed to the ring, cashed in his contract for a second time, and pinned Big Show to officially claim the World Heavyweight Championship. Bryan successfully defended his title all the way until WrestleMania 28, where he was set to face that year's Royal Rumble winner, Sheamus. However, after receiving a good luck kiss from his girlfriend AJ Lee, Bryan was caught by surprise with a brogue kick and pinned in 18 seconds, one of the shortest title matches in WWE history. After suffering an embarrassing loss to Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 22, Mr. McMahon claimed that Michaels had only won because he had God on his side. As a result, McMahon booked Michaels to team up with God to face him and his son Shane at the 2006 Backlash pay-per-view. Once all the competitors had made their way to the ring and the match began, Michaels dominated in early moments. He then placed both McMahons on a table in an attempt to take them out for good. But before he could follow through, the Spirit Squad stormed the ring and distracted him. Although Michaels fought valiantly, he was overwhelmed by their numbers and was ultimately launched through a table, allowing Mr. McMahon to secure the pinfall victory. Not satisfied with merely winning, McMahon wanted to end Michaels' career and ordered the Spirit Squad, along with Triple H, to finish him off. However, Triple H chose to save Michaels instead. As punishment, McMahon booked Triple H to face the Spirit Squad in a handicap match. Before they could inflict serious damage, Michaels returned the favor by attacking the Spirit Squad, and the two men officially reunited as D-Generation X for the first time in over 6 years. The week after the Dudley Boys powerbombed a 77-year-old Mae Young through a table, they upped the ante by doing it again, this time off the Monday Night Raw stage. As punishment, they were booked to defend their tag team championships in the first ever triangle ladder match at WrestleMania 2000. When the match began, all 6 superstars immediately immediately turned the ladders into weapons, using them to inflict damage on one another. The Dudley Boys then introduced their signature tables into the match. They set up a table balanced on top of 2 ladders in the middle of the ring and attempted to take out both Hardy brothers. Jeff Hardy managed to dodge at the last second. Determined to regain control, Bubba Ray Dudley set up a 20-foot ladder in an attempt to take out Jeff, but his plan backfired. Jeff climbed the ladder and delivered a massive swanton bomb onto Bubba. Back in the ring, Matt Hardy climbed the ladder and began walking across the ladder bridge to retrieve the titles. However, Edge and Christian intervened, sending Matt crashing through a table. Taking advantage of the chaos, Edge and Christian retrieved the championships, becoming tag team champions for the first time in their careers.